Netflix just announced its next animated children's film, Steps, a Cinderella inversion in which the stepsisters are the real heroes. Shocking, I know. The platform is also releasing Queen of Coal, a film about a transgender woman overcoming the patriarchy in his small Argentinian town. Reports of the demise of wokeness were greatly exaggerated. Its adherents remain committed to pushing it across every domain of society. What's notable, however, is how boring it's all becoming. Deconstruction has been the default mode of modern culture, but it's running out of things to deconstruct. The transgression has lost its power as the taboo fades, and in that exhaustion, something new, perhaps something true, stirs. Some call Friedrich Nietzsche the first postmodernist for announcing that God is dead. Whether he is a precursor or ground zero, the genealogy of the movement clearly flows from his work. You can argue about whether he unleashed several horrors into the world or merely acknowledged their arrival, but Nietzsche at least understood the seriousness of his claim. He understood that having the blood of a god on your hands wasn't a clever academic parlor trick. It was monstrous. With the creator of the universe declared dead, modern man felt free to dismantle the order that once bound him. The sacred bonds of hierarchy were shattered. Postmodernism launched its assault on the good, the beautiful, and the true. The breaking of sacred bonds releases immense energy. The leftist revolution that consumed the West drank deeply from that well. The church, the community, the family, marriage, gender roles, gender itself. Each time the left destroyed one of these natural structures, it seized the power trapped inside and wielded it against its enemies. But deconstruction has a natural endpoint. Transgression requires something sacred to violate. As I've written before, you eventually reach the point where there's nothing left to transgress. When every movie, show, novel, game, and song subverts the traditional Christian norm, the subversion becomes the norm. That's why these Netflix offerings feel so lifeless. They follow the same trajectory towards the same boring inversion. 50 years ago, critics would complain that stories were predictable because the squeaky clean hero always triumphed. Today, they're predictable because the villain is always some poor, misunderstood victim of bigotry who deserves to overcome and win the day. The inversion isn't clever or subversive, it's just the predictable status quo. So what happens when postmodernism has inverted every hierarchy, mocked every sacred symbol, and squeezed the last drop of power out of attacking Christianity? The philosopher Alexander Dugin offers a compelling answer. If modernity was the death of God, the end of postmodernism is the exhaustion of subversive secular culture. At that point, new possibilities appear. Instead of proclaiming that God is dead, people start asking, the death of who? The old order fades so completely from their minds that secular man forgets what he was rebelling against in the first place. Postmodern man has lived his entire life in a world re-engineered from the top down by quote-unquote experts. When he cast God from his throne, man imagined that he would shape the world through his own individual will. But the modern secular man discovers instead a moral wasteland. He finds that he is captive not to his own liberated self, but to the darker forces that were once held at bay by the divine order he dismantled. He no longer remembers what that order looked like, or why he rebelled against it in the first place. And in that moment, the opportunity to rediscover the spiritual returns. The revolution brought destruction, but its exhaustion brings new possibilities. People have forgotten the object of their rebellion, and now they look at the miserable world secular man has made. They crave something more. Order, duty, faith, meaning. These things begin to look far more promising than the ugly, pointless chaos modern man has created for himself. People once again thirst for a world where the good guy wins and God reigns. The truth is that God never died. Christ died and rose again. Modern man tried to replace the divine with science and reason, but the Lord is the source of reason itself. He can't be dethroned by his own creation. As deconstruction loses its revolutionary energy and becomes stale, the desire to re-embrace the sacred order returns. J.R.R. Tolkien captured this when he wrote, quote, "Evil cannot create anything new. It can only spoil and destroy what good forces invented or created," end quote. Eventually, evil runs out of things to spoil. A barren, thirsty culture begins searching for the living water only divine truth can provide. Modern culture is bankrupt and everyone feels it. The attempts at transgression now read as hollow conformity to a corrupted system. We're not the masters of our own world or our own truth, and thank God for that. We don't have to live in the nihilistic abyss we created. The natural order waits just beneath the surface, ready to reemerge in a cultural revival. The creative future won't come from a relativistic Hollywood clinging to the corpse of deconstruction. It'll come from those willing to embrace the transcendent, from those who understand the world is held together not by our will or power, but by the truth and beauty of our Creator. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and click like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, now is a great time to do so. If you'd like to get these broadcasts as podcasts, make sure to subscribe to the Auron MacIntyre Show on your favorite podcast network, and when you do, leave a rating or a review. It really helps with the algorithm magic. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter or Gab or Substack or Instagram, if you'd like to catch these videos on Rumble or Odyssey, the links to do all of that are down below in the description. And of course, you can watch all of my shows and read all of my columns over at The Blaze. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, I'll talk to you next time.